Hi, I'm Gloucester Township Mayor Dave Mayer, and welcome to Gloucester Township's Business Education Program. I'm joined today by Dennis Paris. Dennis is a member of the Gloucester Township Economic Development Corporation, which helps bring new economic development projects to our community, as well as had over 25 years of extensive experience in both national and international business. Dennis, welcome. So glad that you took time today and bring your expertise to this program. So Dennis, we'll kind of just get into this. Certainly the last 16 months or so have been devastating as businesses have been dealing with something that none of us have really ever dealt with before regarding the pandemic. As we kind of approach this post-pandemic, hopefully this post-pandemic period, what should businesses be thinking about to ensure their recovery?
Yeah. So, all right. So that's a great question. And really, that's kind of the elephant in the room, isn't it? I like to start by saying that in my experience, many businesses, mostly small, medium size, do not invest enough time on market strategy or plan development. They jump right into tactics. That is, they invest in trying various marketing and communications actions, and they hope for the best. This is why a great deal of marketing investment is lost.
How much, Dennis, is lost, and how can businesses kind of deal with that?
Yeah, great question. I mean, according to a Forbes article written by Chief Marketing Officer at a firm named Marketing Evolution, marketers estimate 26% of investment is flat out wasted. Think about that. For every $100, I'll use a smaller number first, but think about, for every $100 spent on marketing, $26 is wasted. And that adds up to a lot of money for any size business. And the reasons were narrowed down to a failure to pull accurate insights from marketing measurements and apply them to strategic decision making. Essentially, poor strategic planning and incorrect market and channel focus. The fact is that investing a little bit of time in crafting an agile strategy and plan, no matter what stage the business is in, or how many generations have owned it, this is the best assurance of maximizing marketing investment and success.
Well, that's very interesting, Dennis. So what are the key elements or the steps that businesses can take to increase their return on investment? And I'm also curious as to the trends that, due to the pandemic, what they play and what role they play in that.
Well, again, great questions. Gloucester Township has a great mix of different business types and a large number of smaller and privately owned, including franchises, right? So regardless of business type or size, as we continue to move forward toward a post-pandemic era, our customer demographics and behaviors continue to shift. An example of changing demographics is the recent drove of young professionals moving from cities to suburbia. And another is how businesses are now defining their physical space moving forward, enabling employees to continue working from home, possibly several days a week into the foreseeable future. There are also continuing shifts in purchase decision-making, customers' value perceptions and behavior around product and service, the use of these things because of habits developed during the pandemic. Or we're also seeing a strong desire to get back to normalized behavior, right? So for example, seeking entertainment and eating outside of the home. All of these changes impact virtually every business. So with all of these consumer behavior and value shifts, businesses need to research and review or create a new strategy that assures alignment with current and trending behaviors and value systems. So essentially, businesses need to understand the drivers of these behaviors and what the most effective and efficient way is to reach, to communicate to, and to deliver the right products and services to their target markets.
Dennis, it sounds like influencing customer value perceptions is a really, really important part of a business strategy. So how do businesses go about doing that?
One area that many businesses are uncomfortable with is the market's perception of their brand, of their own brand. They kind of avoid that. Paying attention really to the equity or strength of a small, medium, or large business's brand is so important at all times. Simply put, brand equity refers to how positive, neutral, or negative customers actually feel when they think of or engage in any business at any point in time. And the best way to go about growing or maintaining good brand equity is to assure that your business is well positioned to its target customers and markets and that it can compete effectively. A business absolutely wants to assure that it delivers what customers expect, and at the very least, what its competitors already deliver, okay, plus product and service attributes that are different from its competition. And of course, customers must be aware of these differentiators and find value in them. More often than not, businesses claim that quality is what differentiates them, but a business needs to be far more specific about what their quality represents. For example, let me give you this example. A pizza with the thickest and richest tomato sauce and gooeyest cheese is far more effective as a differentiator than advertising that their pizza is simply the best, right? So brand perceptions are so important and misunderstood at the same time. The ultimate goal for any good brand worth its salt is to achieve a relationship level with their customers that represent not just or drive not just purchase or repeat purchases, but intense active loyalty and advocacy. This is a customer who speaks positively about their experience with the business. And at this level, customers essentially become social marketers for the brand.
Yes, so Dennis, so there's a lot that goes into brand and brand value. And you and I have spent many hours talking about branding, but from a township's perspective, right? Branding Gloucester Township. And certainly it is more than just a logo. And so how does a business increase that value, that brand value as they move forward?
Yeah. Let's first agree on a mantra if we can. That success depends on how well our business and our professional or even our personal brand resonates with our target customers and audiences, right? So resonate is like an important term here. So let's keep our eyes on that. Even before the pandemic, our customers' values and decision-making behaviors were changing. It's constant. Now add the external forces that drive our new customers' emotions, beliefs, values, and behaviors through various stages that have occurred during the pandemic. And you have a perfect storm that fueled extreme market shifts. For example, let's take a different type of business and industry that we don't normally talk about every day in the performing arts industry. And that in particular of a business case actually that revolved around this that I co-authored that's being used in universities in over 22 countries. It was published just a little more than 6 months before the pandemic. There's a reason why I'm going to pick both before and during the pandemic. It was on the organization called Opera Philadelphia. Many of us are very familiar, very prominent, global. And, I worked with this organization for the better part of a year, understanding how they were able to navigate a severe business contraction, if not bankruptcy, as many of their industry colleagues had experienced. It was also quite by happenstance when I attended an opera classic called Carmen just 1 year earlier. I was blown away by the high volume of young adults, average age, late 20s, early 30s, attending this opera at the Academy of Music over in Philadelphia. And I was taken back by this since the opera industry itself, the contraction within the industry was due to older aged opera patrons essentially dying off or withdrawing due to their fixed incomes. And also driving this industry contraction were younger target audiences that simply did not view opera, and certainly not the classics, with any interest whatsoever. So essentially, opera market demographics and psychographics were shifting and had reached a tipping point to where opera companies everywhere were finding it difficult to remain in business. So what did Opera Philadelphia do? They took some time to understand how and why the markets were changing and what potential new markets existed and their values. At the end of the day, Opera Philadelphia discovered that by taking an 1845 classic and finding a way to contemporize it, they'd be able to reset and appeal to a larger and younger professional marketplace. And they discovered numerous new product opportunities with smaller, innovative, and edgier performances and venues, while also contemporizing their marketing communications, which enabled them to effectively reach this new younger market. Okay, so this was pre-pandemic. Now, what about with the emergence of the pandemic or within the pandemic period itself? They did it again. And they paused and did just a little bit of research, tested and discovered that in order to keep their business alive, their packaging and product delivery had to change. So they broke the sound barrier once again by taking a very unconventional approach. They employed not theatrical, but cinematic writers, composers, and producers. And they created and delivered cinematic opera, not in theater. In fact, one of their objectives was to prevent their production from making viewers feel like they were missing out on the theater experience. So why am I using an opera company in Philadelphia as an example, as opposed to businesses right here in Gloucester Township, right? Well, it's because it is a stellar example of a business that chose to take a breath, to pause, to do the right thing, and to ask the who, the what, and the why, and then pivot or die, right? Before and then again during the pandemic. Now, during the pandemic, many businesses, through no fault of their own, suffered extreme declines in customer purchases. And during this time, it was important for businesses to attempt various ways to not only generate awareness, but to communicate their continuing relevance to the marketplace. So what I like to do here is share a slide that represents a model, has a pyramid, right? Has questions on the left side, has objectives on the right side. And I spoke earlier of how important it was for businesses to build the brand and the value of their brand. We call it brand equity. And again, it doesn't matter what type or size business it is. It could be a family-owned corner convenience store, an auto repair shop, a public or private golf club, a government entity, a police department, an attorney, a physician, a shopping mall, any of the above and more. So this model represents a guide that offers a path to build brand equity. That is to influence how individuals or groups perceive the value of our products and services. And oh, by the way, it also works within an organization, within the organization, to increase staff, management, and departmental perceived value cross-functionally throughout the organization, thus positively affecting a business's culture on the inside. And what's the purpose of bringing that element into our conversation? It's because this leads to an increase in external customer value generation. Okay, so I call this the brand resonance model. The objective is to reach the top of the pyramid, as you can see on your screen, which is what we call brand resonance, at the pinnacle, at the very, very top. This is when you reach this pinnacle with your brand, again, no matter what size business, this is a moment when your customers or constituents believe that their relationship with you and or your business enables them to successfully achieve their goals. At this level of brand building, you experience intense active loyalty by your customers beyond just purchase, right? The path to achieving this begins at the bottom by asking a question of your target customers, which is if they are aware of your business or offerings, A, and B, not just aware, but how they value what you offer. That's critical. And of course, this goes beyond simply generating awareness through advertising. You need to make sure that what you are advertising, what you are promoting, is salient to your target as a business, that it has value to your target. Once you have evidence that it does, there's an opportunity to promote that next level up, to promote your points of parity, basically equal to what your competition offers, and plus your points of differentiation through how well you perform against your brand's promise, and by offering imagery, photographs, video content, visual display of some sort, which all reinforce the benefits of your products and services. Once you are able to achieve this second layer up, the second step, which is essentially the ability to answer the question, what about me or my business? you have an opportunity to intentionally engage in actions like a demonstration or publicizing a track record, for example, in a way that invites judgment leading to positive feelings for and or by your customers. Now, inviting judgment seems like a negative term oftentimes because of social media and everything else. But in this case, it's positive, and you intentionally want to invite judgment when you're ready to do that. You've achieved the lower levels up to that point, and that will lead to positive feelings by your customers. By achieving the third level of this brand building pyramid, you're only one step away from achieving resonance with your customers and constituents, which translate to active loyalty and advocacy. And the best way to know how to truly resonate with your target audience is to ask the question, what about you and me? But you have to earn the right to ask that question with the previous questions. Or more practically speaking, how does my business, product, or service, or even the environment in our retail establishment help you to achieve your objectives? This is, by the way, this is the holy grail of driving intense customer and constituent loyalty and creating positive buzz about our businesses. So everyone listening to this discussion, please try this. Spend a few minutes with this model and try answering each of the questions on the left-hand side of your model that you see on screen as honestly as you can, right? It's just you and yourself, right? So you can be as honest as you want to be. So answer these questions bottom to top, and then again from top to bottom. In other words, duplicate, repeat answering and asking and answering your questions. So I have to warn you, though, I must warn you that outcomes and oftentimes what we think we know is unfortunately not reality. We generally don't know the complete truth unless we ask our customers. And when these 4 questions are asked in a low risk environment, you'd be surprised how often management and owners go into denial over the results, right? So I'll give an example. So in fact, I've experienced our findings being filtered or blocked from reaching the CEO due to variances between internal beliefs by management and true external customer perceptions. At the end of the day, the goal of achieving perceived value is to make sure that customers' benefits outweigh the costs. And we need to realize that costs come in many forms, not just the price the customer pays. And customers either consciously or unconsciously add up most or all of their benefits and costs. We know our business is better than anyone, right? But what we may not realize is that there are costs not easily recognized that are causing us to lose customers even after they've tried or visited our establishment. For example, the psychological cost. Now, this is a little bit of a stretch, but this has been experienced in businesses right here in Gloucester Township. The psychological cost of an overbearing or unsociable business owner or culture in the business that makes customers feel unwelcomed, even though the business might have a better product or service. All right, so think about that. Another model that I would like to show, another slide that I would like you to take a look at. When we're thinking about advertising, we need to be sensitive as to how easy it is for our target customers to evaluate our products and our services. This is a concept that typically causes some whiplash, all right, when you think about it, given what you've already spent your money on relative to marketing and promoting. And it makes a few marketing agencies, let's say, just a little bit uneasy. They feel a little bit uneasy. It's proven that a sizable percentage of our marketing investment is literally wasted. And the dark side of this is that marketers themselves, even marketing agencies, know about this. Oftentimes, this is because, unlike years ago, today it's far more difficult to generate credibility around self-promotion. And the idea here is to realize that some services mostly rely on belief, faith, and trust before, during, and even once a service is performed, at least for a period of time. For example, a patient who just had a root canal performed on them many times will still question the success of the procedure as they walk out of the orthodontist's office, right? But over time, a patient who spreads the news through social marketing practices will benefit the physician in many cases far more effectively than traditional advertising. So the bottom line here is that we need to understand how easy it is for our target customers to evaluate our businesses, right? And then determine the correct balance of traditional advertising versus generating word of mouth and the use of various social media channels. These are questions that a firm like Blue Wire can assist with.
Yeah, Dennis, that's great. Whether it's brand equity or it's customer loyalty and customer value, and some of the other examples and suggestions that you've made, they're all very important to the businesses of Gloucester Township, and I thank you for sharing them. Are there any final remarks or suggestions that you may have for our businesses?
Sure, absolutely. What I like to do is go back to, for this last portion, the model of the pyramid, and I'd like everybody to kind of train on that for a second. I know that I turned on the fire hose here, and what I like to do is offer the following for next steps, particularly as we approach the post-pandemic period. I would recommend, as I mentioned earlier, that business owners and managers schedule quiet time over the next couple of weeks to try answering themselves as honestly as possible their business's current position on that brand resonance pyramid. Where do you believe your brand currently sits? Try answering the 4 questions associated with this model, and also what you are not and what you are doing intentionally to advance upward to each next level. And remember, this is an intentional process. As this is done, I guarantee that business owners and managers will become more acutely aware and curious about whether their perceptions are right or wrong. And before long, questions will surface that they will be eager to ask of both employees and customers. Remember, everyone, we need to be willing to ask for and receive honest responses, and we need to make it safe for our employees and customers to tell us the truth.
Yeah, well, Dennis, that's fantastic. Thank you so much for taking your time to share your expertise with the businesses of Gloucester Township. And as I mentioned before, thank you for your service, not only to our country, but also now on our Gloucester Township Economic Development Corporation. Appreciate your time.
No, Mayor, thank you so much. And again, it's been an honor and a pleasure.
Well, Dennis had some pretty amazing insight on marketing, so I'll keep my part shorter today. Now that we are all in sync and posting, we'll discuss advertising and boosting posts to target potential clients. When you post on your Facebook account, you can do what they call boost a post to promote it to an audience of your choosing. You can also create to do it in Ads Manager with more precision. Let's go through a boost, and I'll show you the additional options you have in Ad Manager after that. So a boost is a post that you've made to your timeline. Below it, you click on Boost, and from there you can set your goals. If you'd like, you can let Facebook do it for you. Generally, you want to do one of 3 things, but more options are available. Generally, you want to get more followers to your Facebook page and Instagram page, get more visits to your website, or promote an event. Then you just go through the steps. Do you want a button on your post? A button is a link that will help the viewer decide what to do. So yes, I think you generally want a button. You can click on the button type you want and select from the pre-written options that pop up where you want to send them, possibly your website, or if you want people to message you directly from the social outlets. And make sure you're sending them to the right place, which is maybe your homepage or a particular page on your website that you can use to track promotions. Next, you have to look and see if you're in a specific ad category. So political ads, realtors, banks, they need to be pre-approved or approved by Facebook to advertise. It's a pretty simple step-by-step process, but you have to do that before you're advertised if you're in one of those categories. And then what I think is the fun part, who are you trying to reach? So there are great options here that are pre-made. So people who like your page and their friends, This is a good one because generally like-minded people like the same thing. So if you have a lot of users that are local and use your business, if you advertise to them and their friends, it'll show up that, these other people like your page. It's almost like a soft referral. So there's all different ways to do it right there on the Facebook boost area. And then what you can do is take that list and choose specific people or actions that you want to target. This is where you can really hone in on what you want to reach. Audiences are pretty self-explanatory. So let's look at that area. So people you want to choose through targeting. First, select a new audience. Give that audience a name. Select an age, race, and gender that you're trying to reach. Pick locations with or without a radius so you can type the areas that you want to hit. Now comes the detail. Type the people who you are targeting. Families with children, adults with no children, construction workers, people with college degrees. Really, there's so many options here. So let's start adding targets. Think about the likes of your target or your potential audience. Add them. Add a lot. It's okay. You can always delete them before saving. Look at the Facebook selections. Select when it's appropriate. If you want more details, go into Ad Manager, and there's a link that'll take you there, and you can save your audience and kind of go to Ad Manager right from there. So, but if that audience works for you, just hit save that audience. You'll be taken back to the boost page. Then pick how long you want the ad to run and for how much. It's important because some ads come up with how much you want to spend per day, and some come up with how much do you want to spend in total. It's pretty straightforward, but double check before you post. You don't want to spend more in your ad budget than you can afford. Next, you pick if you want to be on Facebook, if you want your ad to be on Instagram, or both. And it goes to all different sections of those sites. So you can see that you can be in Facebook Messenger, you'll be on Facebook Marketplace. Same thing with Instagram. There's a lot of options that it sends you to. Then if you have access to your website or have someone that can work on it for you, you can add what's called a Facebook pixel. You can copy and paste this code to your website so that all of your ads can be tracked more efficiently. I suggest doing this because data is essential to make informed decisions on your advertising dollars. Then you pay. So add your credit card if you haven't already. Click Boost Post Now. It will go to a review, and if approved, and we'll start. If it's not approved, they'll give you a reason. Just make the change related to the cause by clicking Edit Ad, and you're good to go. If you have questions, Facebook has a very good customer service in regard to ads, so there's options right there if your ad is denied. Ads Manager is a little different. On Facebook, it actually shows up as Ads Manager and Ads Center, and both links take you to basically the same info on different parts of the site. On the left side of your business page, you can click on Ads Center and then create an ad. You have choices here: automated ads, create new ads, boost a post. Boosting a post here is the same thing we just discussed. It's just in the Ad Center. Automated ads walk you through the process, so they're pretty simple to do. But let's hit create a new ad because that's, again, a little more difficult. This looks really similar to the boost section, but now you have way more options. So again, you select your goal. Then you pick your ad creative. So you can upload content from your computer, use a post, or a variety of things here. And get it on the site. So you can use a photo, video, a carousel of up to 5 images, each showing its own short call to action. So you upload your choice there and you save. Back to the create an ad page, you'll write a description. So tell the viewers what you want to promote or what you want them to do. Then write the headline. That'll be in bold. On the right, you'll see your post. And if you select see all, you can see what it looks like everywhere that the ad can potentially show up. It's a little bit of a misnomer here. Headline is generally at the top of the article if it's in print, but with this, the headline's right under the picture and the text comes up above it. Select your button, same thing. You can link to a phone number or what you want them to do. Just make sure it's right. Then the rest of it's just like a boost. You select your audience and you move forward, figure out what you want to spend, and go from there. And that's it. I think that's really all you need to know to get started boosting and promoting or doing ads. Make sure you don't spend too much here. You spend what you can afford, And you can track it every day, and you can stop it right away if you feel like you're getting too much activity, or you can add to it if you feel like you're not getting enough. If you have questions, submit them in the Gloucester Township website under the Education Series section, and we'll get you answers. Remember, you can schedule a one-on-one session if you feel like you need some help. Next time, we'll look at results and wrap things up.